Hello Seekers and welcome back to my channel. I'm Alice Estrella Strange and today we're talking about the winter season, its themes, and how you can support yourself through seasonal depression. But first, if you want to stay connected, I have a weekly newsletter called Letters from the In-Between. Each week I share my latest video, plus deeper guidance, writings, or learning with a free gift in every letter. When you sign up, you'll receive 2 resources right away. So if that sounds good to you, I invite you to join us with the link below. And if you are thinking about subscribing, this is your friendly reminder to do so, but of course, no pressure. Now, let's get into it. First, let's talk about the themes of winter. If you're ever wondering how to know what the themes of a season are, you can look at nature and what nature is doing at this time, and from that you can deduce essentially the themes of the season. So let's talk about winter. Winter is a season where everything looks like it's dying. It is slowing down, it is going dormant, animals are hibernating, right? And with the plants and the trees, they're drawing all of their energy down into their roots. They're storing up their energy for better growth in the spring. So, what we can take from this, if we're thinking symbolically about ourselves, this is a season of slowing down. This is a season of going inward, finding times for introspection, pondering the big questions and who we actually want to be in life, what we want to actually do with ourselves. We're pulling our energy down into our roots, getting clear on our core selves, letting go of all the gunk that doesn't serve us so that we can launch into the spring with renewed clarity and really free of the gunk, and so that we can grow and thrive in that season. So I'm not going to talk too much about the themes of winter in this video because I did a whole video on that on my podcast. It's a video podcast, and if you want to check that out, it'll be linked up here or down in the description. That video will help you deep dive into the themes of winter, what winter's all about, why it's important to align with the season of winter, and also practices you can use to get into the winter season vibe. But for this video, I'm not going to talk too much about it. We're actually going to shift into seasonal depression and why it makes sense in the winter season. Seasonal depression, or really getting the winter blues, feeling more down, while there are biological reasons for this, energetically, it is aligned with the season. It makes sense because this is the season to really look at ourselves, really look at what we're doing here, what's actually important to us, where we've been missing the mark, so that we can change and grow and realign to who we actually want to be, what our actual true values are. And this isn't at all to invalidate the struggles and the real heaviness that comes with seasonal depression. I'm really just aiming here to validate your experience if this is you, and start to think a little bit more about really to just be more kind to yourself in the process and not feel so wrong or bad or why can't I get over this. It just makes sense. It makes sense for the energy of the season, especially for those of us who are very energetically sensitive. We tend to pick up on those energies a lot more than other people. So if that's helpful for you, take that with you, and if it's not, you don't have to keep that. Now, let's start talking about ways that you can support yourself through seasonal depression. But first, of course, keep in mind that I'm not a freaking doctor. I'm not a professional in this sense. I cannot tell you how to take care of your health. And I do encourage you to see a professional if you can. Check off all of your little boxes. Do the mundane things first. We're not spiritually bypassing here. We are finding ways to support what we're already doing to take care of ourselves. I understand that not everybody can do that. It's not accessible for everyone. So moving forward in this video, I'm going to assume that you're already taking care of yourself the best that you can. I'll also say that a lot of the recommendations I have for you today may not work for everyone, and always, always, always check in with yourself, check in with your professionals, go to your people, whether that's a doctor, an herbalist, whoever you work with to manage your health. Ensure that you're checking all the boxes off that you can, because some of these things are like, not going to help everyone's body. We'll just say that. Now, we're going to run through some of my tips and my tricks. We're going to start with the more mundane sounding things, and then we'll move into the magical things. So stay to the end for those. All right, tip number 1 is light exposure. In the winter, the real reason why we struggle with winter is because we are missing out on that sunlight. There are other reasons behind it, sure, but that's a big one for this seasonal affective disorder, is not enough light exposure. So my tips for that is light therapy. Light therapy boxes, like the big box lights that reflect or send out the same kind of light that the sun does. It helps your brain get some serotonin into you and helps you fall asleep at night better, because if you don't have enough sunlight during the day, it's really hard to fall asleep. Our melatonin and circadian rhythm gets all messed up. So light therapy, light boxes are really, really helpful. It's something I use every single day. Another option here is watching the sunrise or the sunset, or both. As often as you can, I encourage you to watch the sunrise or the sunset. This, for one, is incredibly helpful when it comes to regulating that circadian rhythm, letting your brain know, hey, it's morning, it's time to wake up. Hey, it's sunset, time to go to sleep. It's something people don't talk about much, honestly, and I don't understand why, because that's honestly so magical to think that, like, if our brains don't see the sunrise or sunset, they don't know what time it is, but as soon as they do, it's like, oh, time to shut down. So if you're ever able to sit outside or sit at a window with the sunrise or the sunset, and just, again, don't look directly at the sun. That's not what we're doing here. Be careful. I don't know too much about this. Do your own research. But with sunrise and sunset, there is some red light exposure that can happen. And I do believe there are like different sunglasses and type things you can wear to protect your eyes from the red light coming from the sun. But all of that to say, I don't worry about that too much because I just need my sunrise and sunset, and I don't have those tools. So just doing my best out here. Another really good option is a walk if you live somewhere where that's possible for you, if you're physically capable of that. Taking a quick walk at sunrise or sunset is really helpful. Another, and honestly, let's just talk about that. Walking outside in the winter is really helpful. Even on a cloudy day, your body is able to absorb the vitamin D from the sun. And that's what you really need. It's like the clouds, just because it doesn't look sunny doesn't mean the rays aren't getting to you. That's fun fact for you. So take walks outside, sit outside. If you can't walk, if it's too snowy or whatever, do whatever you can, but getting outside as much as possible, getting some light exposure in whatever way you can is incredibly helpful for these wintertime blues. And on the topic of walking, tip number 2 is movement. Getting your body moving in some way. This not only regulates your body, but it also regulates your sleep, your stress levels. It really does. It's so vital. It's so vital for us as humans to be moving our bodies. So if you can't go for walks outside, I encourage you to incorporate something like yoga. Honestly, one of my favorites is Qigong. If you've never done Qigong, it's a really fun, it's similar to Tai Chi. There's a lot of like energy work involved, and I really enjoy it for that aspect, as well as my body just feels so much better. And you can go on YouTube and Google all sorts of things. Qigong for chronic stress, Qigong for chronic pain. There are all sorts of things. You can do Qigong sitting down, sometimes lying down, I believe. It's a very accessible practice. And I'll also stick Tai Chi in here. That's another really good one. In my opinion, this is a great way to combine movement, that physical care for your body, with a spiritual practice. This is a twofer. Another really fun one is dance meditations. If you've not done a dance meditation, I encourage you to check that out. There are some really good ones here on YouTube. So search for dance meditations, because honestly, this is just such a fun way to move your body, get that heart rate elevated and going without it feeling super boring, without it feeling like a chore. You're moving and dancing and meditating. It's very flowy, very creative, very fun, in my opinion. And sometimes those can even be done sitting down or laying down. So I encourage you to check those out if that feels good to you. And then that brings us to our third section, which is supplements. So with supplements, again, I'm going to put the disclaimer here that not everything's going to work the same for everyone's body. Not everything here is going to be helpful for you. Not everything here is going to be safe for everyone watching this video. So please do your research, do your due diligence, check with your people, whatever you have to do. But I'm just sharing my own personal experience with what's worked for me. So for seasonal depression and those sort of things, vitamin D is honestly the go-to. It is kind of a standard when it comes to care for seasonal depression. Now, we get our vitamin D from the sun exposure. And in the winter, the sun's less direct. The rays that are hitting us are not as strong. So we're getting less vitamin D naturally. So it is helpful to incorporate it in whatever supplement format you want to do that in. Vitamin D helps us with serotonin levels. It helps us to stabilize our mood. It helps with sleep. There's just like a lot of things that can come up when you are low on vitamin D. If any of you out there have like struggled with depression in the past, I'm sure one of the first things your doctors did was check your vitamin D levels, because it does lead to depression if you have really low vitamin D. So I will also add here that with vitamin D, now, okay, again, not a doctor, just sharing the things that I've found in my own life and from my own professionals. With vitamin D, it needs calcium to be absorbed into your body. So if you are going to go and find yourself a vitamin D supplement over the counter, look for something with calcium in it. Talk to your providers about calcium if that's something you want to do. But if you aren't balancing the amount of vitamin D and calcium you get in your body, there can be some negative physical side effects there. So I just wanted to share that in case it is useful for you. My other supplement that is my go-to just all around for my health is B complex vitamins. Some people will also take B12 for the seasonal depression stuff. With B vitamins, this is helping your brain function and this is helping your energy levels. As a chronic illness person, B complex really does help my brain so much. It helps clear the brain fog, it helps me feel more energized and just more focused. I have ADHD that is unmedicated, and so B complex does not fix it, to be clear, but it does help me stay a little less scattered. All right, now let's move on to the magical portion of how you can support yourself through seasonal depression. And let's start with some herbal allies. And when we talk about herbal allies for the winter season, I am going to kind of talk about two categories. And the first is warming herbal allies. This is really whatever you think of when you think of like winter or autumn spices. So this is like cinnamon, this is cardamom, this is nutmeg, orange or other citrus fruits. Really, it's the things that bring that cozy, warm feeling. There is a reason why we associate those with winter. They've been around forever. Like, we've been using these as a society, as a world for many, many years. So these are spices that the olden times, the ancient peoples used to bring warmth and vitality and strength during those winter seasons when it was so dang cold. And I encourage you to find things that feel good for you. You can incorporate these things in whatever way you want. This can be teas. You can sprinkle cinnamon over your coffee. You can make an orange or a lemon tea. You can mix these things into the foods that you're already making, or you can make, herbal blends. You can make incense. You can purchase incense. You can purchase oils or make oils that have these spices in them. It really is just bringing in those warm, cozy energies. And now let's talk about solar energies. Again, in the winter, that we're missing the sun. That's what's really causing the disconnect, is we don't have enough sun. So bringing in allies that have solar energies to them brings the sun in for us. So a few options for you are sunflower. Sunflower is associated with joy, with luck, with vitality, with strength. And I really love sunflower for its unity aspect. So sunflower, obviously the sun, very solar. This is one option for those energies. Another is calendula. Calendula is classically solar. It's all fire. It's all warmth. It is associated with healing, with cleansing, with confidence, with positivity, like abundance. Like there's so much that comes with calendula. I do believe it's one of those heal all herbs. So I've never had calendula tea, but I've heard it's really good. So calendula's, ooh. So calendula is another one that you can have a tea of, you can incorporate in other ways. Another ally for you is lemon balm. Oh my gosh, I love lemon balm. It smells so good, it tastes so good. I love lemon balm so much. I want a million essential oils and all the things of this herb. So, lemon balm, with its solar aspects, also brings in a lot of calm, loving, healing energy. It's a more calm vibe than, say, calendula. So, lemon balm is a really good one. I think medicinally it's used for like joy and like happiness, combating depression. So, I'll just hand that to you there. And again, these are things you can incorporate in scent, in oils, in spell work if you want, in teas, all sorts of stuff. There's a million different ways to use these herbs. Another way to bring solar energies into your life is to make solar charged water, sun water. You make sun water essentially the same way you make moon water. You can take some water. I know it's cold, so if it's freezing outside, please don't put your jars outside. Don't put anything outside that's going to shatter if it freezes. But get yourself some sort of container, fill it with water, preferably something that is filtered, clean, purified, distilled, something. Some people love to use like spring water. Totally depends. And then you will set it outside or in a windowsill. I'm not one of those people who will ever tell you like if you can only set it on a windowsill, then you can't make sun water or moon water. I almost always use a windowsill, so it's like passing through the glass and then the container walls, usually glass for me. And so I just don't notice a difference. I really don't notice much of an energetic difference versus setting it outside or inside in the windowsill. So get yourself a container, fill it with clean water, put it on your window or outside, and you can ask the sun to charge it with its energy. Ask the water to collect the sunlight and store it in the water. Though I don't fully believe that you have to ask, I just prefer to do so because it feels better for my brain and my own psyche. And as far as timing for this, a lot of people um, personally, I think the best time to place your water is around noon. This is when the sun is in its peak energy, at its strongest. We can compare it to the full moon, really. And if you want, you can leave it on the windowsill or outside from like 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. or just for that noon hour. It's really up to you. Trust your own intuition on this one because it's going to be different for everyone. And at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. What works for you works for you. Doesn't matter if it's what somebody else says is right or not. Just trust your own gut. It's going to be fine. Now let's talk about solar-based oils. Kind of touched on this with the herbal allies, but you can make your own solar oils very easily. I'm not going to run you through the whole process of how to make an oil, but really it is very simple. You can Google that, you can find it. If you have any solar herbal allies or any of those wintertime spices, you can throw them together in an oil, let them sit for 2 to 4 weeks, and that's essentially your oil infusion. That is your herbal infused oil. And for me personally, it's something I really love to do in the winter. I think it's such a great wintertime activity for me personally. I'm not out there picking the herbs or like foraging for them, so I might as well be using the ones that I have dried during the year. It also feels aligned with that winter season. You know, I'm making something that I will be able to use for the rest of the year and onward. I'm preparing for the future. I am storing my energy, staying inside, and making preparations for the long term. Another way to bring solar energies into your life is flower essences. So if you don't know what a flower essence is, it's essentially a water that has been infused with the energy of a plant or a flower, often a flower, but it's not always a flower. And the people When they're made, essentially people are like putting the flowers into a bowl of water and allowing it to charge in the sunlight. That's kind of the whole process of making it. There's like storage and follow up and like preserving the waters, but there are no actual plant matter things in the water. It is said that they are safe to use if you have allergies. So if there's a plant ally you really want to use for this winter season or at all, but you're allergic to it, flower essences are your way to go. And they're charged in the sunlight. So it is a way to get some extra solar energy to your warming herbs already. And then finally, something that has really helped me this winter season in avoiding the blues that comes with all of the plants dying is cozifying my space. So I encourage you to cozify your space. What do I mean by this? I mean, make your home feel warm, feel comforting, feel nourishing, like your own personal sanctuary. For me, winter has always been kind of a difficult season. Not necessarily like the December era of winter, but really in that late January, early February time. That's when I start to get really bogged down. And there's always this dread, this like building dread that comes up when I'm seeing the plants die and it's starting to get cold and the snow is coming in. I just feel so heavy. I love the fall, I love the spring, I love the summer. I'm such a plant girl. But this year I really had to reckon with the idea that I can't control this. I cannot control the season. It's completely out of my control. So what can I control in this situation? This is an idea that comes up a lot in like therapy type spaces and self-work and shadow work, like whatever you want to call your healing journey. It comes up a lot. What can you control? Focus on what you can control. And as a person who has been doing that thing, asking that same question for years, it always takes me by surprise that sometimes I really have to ask myself again. Sometimes I do get caught up in the thing. So first of all, little shout out that we're never done. This is an ever growing, ever evolving journey. And don't feel bad if you fall back into those same patterns, those same habits. Just remember to pick yourself up. You've been here before. It's okay. So I had to ask myself, what can I control? I can't control the outside, but I can control the inside. So I spent time this fall deep cleaning my home, and I did some furniture rearranging that helps flush out some energy, but I really took a lot of time to make the space convey the energy I want it to, the energy I'm looking for. If you saw my recent candle crafting video, I talked about, setting a ritual space where the entire aesthetic or like mood that you've created reflects the intention of what you're creating. And I kind of took that concept and applied it to my entire space. Of course, that's still a work in process. We're not even in winter yet. As I am recording this, it will be tomorrow, the 21st. Just like if you didn't know, winter doesn't start until like December 21st-ish. It changes every once in a while, but so all of that to say, I'm still working on cozifying my entire home, but I've done most of it, and it has been really helpful. Not only do I feel that cozy intention I've poured into how I've decorated my space every time I walk into my office, it also just feels really special and exciting because I don't ever do this. This is a rare occasion. This only happens in winter. Otherwise, my space is a very different vibe. So there's a sort of novelty to it. There's a special something, a little spice for my brain. And honestly, that works for me. I'm very neurodivergent, so having something that feels novel and special and exciting is a really good way for me to trick my brain into thinking, oh, this is wonderful and beautiful, when prior I was not at all feeling that. And there really is something to be said for the space energetically reflecting the warmth and the comfort I need. I really poured intention into like every step of the process, every placement of a blanket, of a pillow, all the colors I chose, and I just dug through my closet for all the stuff I had stored away. I didn't buy anything new. So it was really helpful to just intentionally choose from the things I already had, even if I didn't have what I actually wanted, choosing the best of what I did have and intentionally choosing it, knowing in my mind that I'm choosing this color because it represents what I'm looking for. That did help me to feel a lot better without having to spend any money. So now let's talk about how do you do it. First, I will say decorating. Decorating is a great way to do this. A very classic way to go about it is greenery, getting some artificial or real greenery to bring into your space. And this works for multiple reasons. One, we're bringing the outside indoors, and it's tied to those ancient traditions, those ancient practices of bringing evergreens into your home to represent life continuing through winter and the hope of spring's return. It also is just like the perfect vibe. It's very cozy. It feels very winter season without feeling dead and drab. Another way that I did this year is really like warm fuzzy blankets, those plush blankets, pillows and stuff in colors that reflect what I'm going for. So I focused on reds and greens. I am not much of a Christmas person, right? But I do really love a good rich dark red and an emerald green for the winter season. Reds being vitality and strength and warmth, and greens being life that continues, that persists even after winter. And like I said, the intention matters. So if reds and greens are not your thing, pick something that feels like vitality. Pick something that feels like warmth, comfort, luxury, whatever it is you think you need in this season, because I need warmth and vitality in life. You may need something completely different. So maybe start this process by thinking, what do I actually need? What do I need a little more of in my life? And begin to bring intentional colors, intentional placements into your space of where you are putting these things, what things you're choosing to place. And I really do encourage you, before decorating, do a clean. Do as much of a deep clean as you can. Move the furniture, sweep out from behind all that stuff, because yes, if there's this is a truth that I hate because I hate dusting, but if there's dust, there's collected energy, there's stagnant energy. That's, I'm neurodivergent, right? I do struggle to keep up with the cleansing practices, but it is just something really good for my brain to say, if I see dust, that means there's energy buildup and I have to physically clean before any of the energetic cleansing is going to take place. So just something for your brain to chew on there. I do encourage you to clean your space. Sweep your floors, mop your floors, move all of the furniture, get everything out from behind, and you'll be surprised how much this helps. How much this helps the space feel fresh and clean and light. So it's not just psychology, it is also energy. I encourage you to take those steps for yourself before starting the decorating process. So some other ways to cozify your space in your home is with scents. And this is essentially those herbal allies we talked about: warm winter and autumn spices, the smells like the pumpkin pie, the cinnamon, the apples, the whatever it is for you. Find the smells that remind you of the warmest, coziest winter. That's what you want to think about when you're going for cozy energy. And again, if there's something else you need in your life, focus on that instead. And of course, you can make this magic very easily by choosing them intentionally, choosing them based on their energetic properties, choosing them based on what you need that day. If you like candles, go for candles. If you like wax warmers, do that. Whatever is your jam, just start to incorporate those things as you can. I personally love to have really nice smells in my space while I'm working. It really helps me a lot. And I also am not such a fan of like wax warmers that have the heavily artificial waxes and stuff, but I have a whole bunch of them. I have so many wax warmers, and I was like, wax melts. I decided that this winter, I'm just running through them. I'm just going to run through them so I don't have to like hold on to them anymore or feel bad about using them. And I don't really have any other, I have some good candles, but I was like, might as well use it up. So whatever way you can get these smells into your life, even if it's not something that has real essential oils in it. At the end of the day, we do the best that we can with what we have at the time. If that's what you have, that's what you have. It doesn't matter. I guarantee you, your brain will still feel cozy. I guarantee you that it'll work on your psychology, whether or not it works on the herbal level at all. So, all of that to say, this is my personal experience. If that doesn't resonate with you, doesn't matter. You can just toss that away. But for me, it is enough. It is enough for my brain to say, it smells cozy, I feel cozy. Another way to bring cozy energy into your life is with warm seasonal drinks. And I'm going to say here, pamper yourself. In the winter season, this is a time, like, think about animals, think about bears. They have gorged themselves and they are hibernating. So you should also pamper yourself a little bit. I encourage you to make these warm drinks for yourself very fun, very yummy, very exciting. The more exciting it is to your brain, the bigger the impact. That's the thing. Our neurology is a big engine, a big driving force in our magic. It's a very common thing for people to say that if you don't believe your spells work, then they're not going to work. That's because our belief is a big part of the equation when it comes to magic. So the more excitement and, just novelty, this like warm, yummy feeling, the more intense that good feeling is, the bigger impact it will have on your brain and therefore the rest of your body. The brain connects everything else, it's all connected. So just trust. Just trust that it'll work for you. Try it out, suspend your doubt if you're doubting for a moment, and see what happens. Maybe it'll work for you. And really, I guess the take-home message on this point here is your brain can create magic. Your brain can create magic if you let it. If you let it. But of course, don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged if it doesn't work the first time, because if you don't believe it's going to work, that's one hurdle. But if you try and then you get really down on yourself or like frustrated that it didn't work the first time, that's an even bigger hurdle. That's an even bigger hurdle. Really, I encourage you to have a growth mindset about this and say, okay, this one didn't work. Let me try something different. Maybe it was the approach. Maybe you tried a new sort of drink, or maybe you need to try a new sort of drink. Just depends on where you're at, what your particular energetic needs are. But yeah, altogether, your brain can create magic if you let it, but don't be discouraged if it doesn't happen the first time. The most important part is that you are willing to see whatever outcome there is for you and keep trying new things. And of course, it is very easy to make warm and cozy drinks very magical. So you can make this magic by choosing intentional spices, any of the spices we talked about before. If you want to go with an apple cider, apple cider, first of all, delicious, but also apples have a lot of properties to them. So connect with the spirit of apple. Ask the spirit of apple to bring an intention in for you. If you're using tea, connect with those herbs. If you're using coffee, connect with the coffee. That's also a plant spirit, right? And it's very simple to ask whatever substance is making up your drink to bring that energy in for you. There are plenty of other ways though. You can stir with intention, focusing on your intention, stirring counterclockwise to remove something or clockwise to bring something in. You can also draw like a little symbol over top. You can say some blessings for it. You can ask your guides, your ancestors to bless this for you. Any deities or spirits that you work with, ask them to infuse your drink with the intention you're looking for. Whatever your particular approach is, I encourage you to experiment, play around, and find what works. And my final tip for cozifying your life is connection. This is part of winter's theme. If we look at the ancient traditions, this was a time for people to meet, to come together, to connect. And, aligning with that winter energy, we survive. We are pack animals at the end of the day. We survive best together. And, there's something to be said for how winter brings out this bit of survival in the monkey brain of the human and that really old part of our brain. So there is an aspect of really needing more connection in the winter. And I like to think of it as we gain warmth from those who light our fire. The people who light you up, the people who hype you up, the people who are always supporting you, that make you feel warm, these are the people who are going to bring warmth into your life. So this winter season, lean into the people that nourish you. Lean into those connections. Reach out to your friends, make those phone calls, schedule those brunches, like whatever it is, start connecting. Lean into those that nourish you and set boundaries with those that don't. This is like the flip side of the coin, the part that we don't think about as much, but it is the holiday season. We are probably going to be interacting with people in our extended family, and it's very common for that to be an unpleasant experience, especially for those in the occult spaces. So set boundaries with those who do not nourish you. This doesn't have to be spoken like interpersonal boundaries, but I encourage you to take that route, please. Set boundaries in a way that is safe and comfortable for you. Even if you have to stretch your comfort zone a little, I would say that that's probably a good thing. It's not always good for us to stay within the bounds of our comfort zone. We are meant to slowly expand by stretching and stepping just slightly outside the bounds so that our comfort zone gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So with this, set verbal boundaries, redirect conversations if they're not going your way, if they don't feel good for you. And, I think another important thing, I did not plan to go into this, but here we go. It's coming up, so we'll go there. Something else to keep in mind this holiday season is when things come up that feel really bad in conversation, I encourage you to take a softer approach, to be kind, because there's nothing that will put a target on your back more than getting really angry and upset about something. The moment you get upset and angry, people see that as almost like more of an opportunity, more of an invitation to pick and poke further, to keep going further. So anger and harshness is really just not the vibe, especially if these are people you're not going to be seeing much. If it's not the end of the world, sure, if you want to go off. I will never tell you not to, honestly, but be responsible and know that getting really angry and triggered can lead to even more. So if you need to step outside and take a breath, take a beat, stand on the earth for a moment and breathe, do that, friends. I do that. I absolutely do that. Some energetic support for you that you can do is, energetic shields, bubble shields, using a protection oil, doing some kind of protection routine, wearing a protective crystal or amulet, carrying them in your pockets. If you don't know how to make a bubble shield, we'll talk about that for a second. Essentially, it's a visualization practice for a lot of people. There are other ways, but you visualize a white light in the center of your being, wherever that happens to be, and with the breath, you expand it outward and outward and outward until you are completely surrounded by this bubble of light. And you can bring other light colors in. You can cover the outside of it with a layer of black if you want. You can actually get really creative with this. So play around with whatever energy protection techniques you already use. I don't know why more witches don't use energy protection for the holidays. It's shockingly uncommon in my experience. When I ask people about it, they're like, oh, that's a great idea. And I'm like, I just don't understand. I'm so sensitive to energy. But anyway, I'll pass that wisdom on to you. And after the holidays, when you come home from somewhere else, cleanse yourself. Please cleanse yourself. Please. I know you're probably tired. Please cleanse yourself. It's just a really good idea, especially if it was not a good time for you. Even if it was, you're still carrying a lot of energies that you may not be aware of. Now, let's focusing back on the people who nourish you for a moment. I do encourage you to lean into your family or your friends that feel like family, the people who really nourish you. And I'm finding that it's incredibly common, especially within like our Discord community, the circle of friends that I have, our little community space, it seems like people have a really hard time asking for that, asking their friends for a chat, for a vent session, for some emotional support. And if you have people who truly light your fire, people who truly make you feel seen, heard, and validated, supported, and loved, then I assure you that they probably wouldn't mind the connection. Don't feel bad about asking for a phone call or a hangout or a catch up, because they probably could use that too. They probably want that too. And it kind of seems a little silly and simple, but there are probably some people out there who need to hear that. So if that's you, I encourage you to remember that you don't have to feel bad for just asking for a chit chat. It's okay. But that is all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments which parts of the video you found most helpful. And I'd also love to hear your tips for navigating the winter if I didn't mention them. So I'll be reading the comments. And if you'd like to stay connected, you can sign up for Letters from the In-Between and receive extra magic, find the link to my Discord, or join my live events. And if you like this video and you want to catch more upcoming magic, this is your final friendly reminder to subscribe if you'd like. Thanks for stopping by my channel. May the energy you give return to you in abundance, and may you always perpetually grow. Stay curious, friends. See you in the next one.